Welcome back to the Labor Forum. I'm really happy to see Traci here in the studio. She's been on this program before. And this is such an important thing because here we just had this amazing piece of history that undoubtedly 99% of us didn't know a thing about. And it really goes to the point of why it's so important that there be a Southern Labor Archives where the documentation, the images, the stories of people who have contributed to the struggle of working people in the South can be a resource.
Yes.
So, listeners, we are about to hear from Traci Drummond, who is the archivist at the Southern Labor Archives that are held at Georgia State University. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, so when did this archives get started?
So the archives were founded, it was sort of the idea of Dr. Merle Reed, who was a faculty member at Georgia State University. And he had gone to a labor conference and had been talking to some of the folks who had just started the labor archives at the University of Texas at Arlington. And he came back and he's like, oh, well, a lot of people are doing labor studies now. We really need a similar archives in the South. So he started working with the local labor community to sort of to get everything started, and then so that was around 1969 that happened, and then the first labor archivist was hired in 1971, Dr. David Gracie. He was hired in 1971, and that is when we started collecting. So a little over 45 years now.
All right, there are people who are going to say, well, is this just a bunch of dusty stuff?
Well, it's not dusty because we care for it appropriately. So a lot of people, when they think of the archives, they either think dusty or they think it's a museum. And the truth lies somewhere between the two. Everything's in boxes. We have a lot of really cool stuff, but in order to preserve it for the, in the best way, we keep everything boxed in acid-free boxes, acid-free folders, just mylar sleeves for photographs, just to protect the material, and so because the job of an archives in general is to not only collect material but also to make it last as long as possible, right? So we are sort of balancing these two things, and then on top of that to make it accessible. So so it's not very exciting. Everything's in boxes. I think it's exciting. Not everyone would think it's exciting. Everything's in boxes, but it's well organized.
All right, so what's the oldest thing that you know that you have?
I know that we have some documentation from 1884 related to unions, but thank you for catching me off guard. I cannot think right now of what it is. And actually we have, that sort of points to a bigger thing, is that we're a very modern archives, because when people think of archives, they think it's stuff, clay tablets and parchment and things like that. But we actually have a very modern collection at the Southern Labor Archives, and the vast majority of material that we've got was created post-World War II. So lots of post-World War II stuff, but some stuff from the early 20s.
All right, so if I were to go there, where would I go?
We are located on the 8th floor of Library South at Georgia State University, the downtown Atlanta campus. As y'all know, we merged with Perimeter, so we want to specify that we are at the downtown Atlanta campus, and we're on the 8th floor of Library South. The library is open to visitors. You'll have to register when you come in, but then just head on over and head up, and we have what we call a reading room, which is a space where the materials are used. They can't be checked out, and then that's where you would start talking to somebody about what you're interested in.
Christopher has his hand up.
Oh yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
Because he's a Georgia State student.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I'm a Georgia State student. But my question more lies in, are you looking for things for people to contribute?
We always sort of have an ear to the ground for collections, and right now I'm probably talking to 10 different people about stuff they've got, but it's never like this quick unless it's very quick, like we're moving out of our building this weekend and we need you to come get 50 boxes of stuff, but then there are other people, like I'm almost 10 years at this job, and there's stuff that I've literally talked to people about for like 5 or 6 years before we actually get it. So
yeah, I was just curious because in the sense of, I guess sometimes people in movement work don't always necessarily acknowledge that what they're doing is a part of history. So they may not feel inclined to hold on to certain things. Maybe they're moving themselves and they got to get rid of all this stuff as well. Although we may relinquish what it is that we participate in on Facebook or Instagram,
Mhm.
we don't necessarily think about bringing it into a place like you
Right.
to deposit, so our narrative is in control there as opposed to on
Right.
Instagram.
And yeah, and you know, within archives, there's this level of integrity, right? Like, we don't change the content in any
Mhm.
way. We present it to the public as it is given to us, which maybe cannot be said of Instagram and Facebook and
Right.
anything, you know, things like that. And we're certainly not looking to make any money off of it in the way that they are potentially able to as well.
Right.
So,
All right, so describe, if you would, some of the things. So do you have photos, posters, leaflets, internal records of meetings,
Yeah, buttons and
banners,
posters.
buttons?
But-
What do you
yeah.
have?
Yeah, so the vast majority of the materials we have are from labor union offices, and that typically involves or includes meeting minutes, contracts. If they, you know, sometimes we've got some grievances. Sometimes we've got some arbitration, not so much in that. If there are maybe newspaper clippings that they've collected over time about their local or any actions their local have taken, or scrapbooks and things like that, we get that kind of content in. We have lots of photographs. There's always subject files or office files that tell us what their day-to-day operations were, information about negotiations, things like that. So that is, you know, the majority of what we've got. But then we also get really amazing artifacts in, like we've got miners' caps and hats and pails. We've got one collection where the person that donated the content was involved with the space program. He was a representative of the machinists and involved and represented the folks at like NASA or at Kennedy.
Space
Space
Center?
Center, yeah. And so he's got really cool models of some of the spacecraft in it as part of his collection. Lots of buttons. And recently, last summer, we got this great International Ladies Garment Workers Union shirt that was made that had their logo woven into the fabric of the shirt, which I thought was a really sweet and cool thing.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody was doing research, let's say,
Mhm.
on textile worker organizing or union organizing in the mines or farm worker organizing, they would be able to come and get original source materials that they could read?
Right, they would. We have these guides online, they're called finding aids. And a finding aid is a guide to a collection. You know, when you look up a book at the library, you get a call number and you can go straight to that book. But when it comes to a collection, there might be 10 boxes, there might be 500 boxes. So we create this finding aid, which gives you an idea of what's in every box. Sometimes it's very specific, and every single folder in a box is listed, so you know exactly which folders you need to pull. And then sometimes it's just an overall box description. Which organizations were involved, what's an approximate date range, and what kinds of formats are there. But then that just helps the researcher narrow down the material. But they're all online and can be searched.
So we have just a couple minutes left. I'm going to have to come there because guess what, folks? The labor forum is there. Not?
Well, yes, but people can't access that online, because what we've done is we have taken all of the labor forum episodes that are on YouTube, and we have organized them into a document. And so people can go there, and we've provided brief descriptions of each episode. So if, and it goes back to 2013, I think we have episodes all the way back to 2013. And it's what we call a LibGuide or a library guide. And I actually have the URL, and I'd like to share it in case people are interested in going there. research.library.gsu.edu/labor forum, and that'll take you to the list of episodes. And my graduate,
Cool!
Yeah, that's cool.
and my graduate assistant will be. It's only through October, I think. So my grad student will start back this week, and we will get it updated. But it's there. It's there.
Cool. So one last question. Does the Southern Labor Archives ever do, I don't know, programs? Have a photo exhibit? Have a speaker on an issue that you have material in your...
We do from time to time, and those things are pretty heavily advertised on the library's website. There's a great library blog that all of the librarians and archivists contribute to when there are new publications, when new collections come in, whatever. But if there's ever an event at the library, unless it's a small event for a specific group of people. Most of the stuff we do though is open to the public, and we very much invite folks to come and learn more, because it's not just the Southern Labor Archives. I'm part of Special Collections and Archives, but we've got the Archives for Research on Women and Gender, we've got Popular Music and Culture, we've got University History, we've got great historical photographs from Atlanta from about the 1930s through the 1990s, I think. So just really phenomenal collections that, the history of labor, the history of activism, the history of Atlanta, Georgia. So lots of great stuff. And we've got a lot of digital collections online as well. I know you said I only had a minute, but I really want people to know. If you,
It's okay.
and if you just want to Google like Georgia State University and digital collections with that, you'll get, we have, I think, close to 100,000 digital objects online, and lots of different collections reflecting lots of different collecting areas within the library. So there's a great amount of material to kind of get lost in, including the Great Specklebird, which everybody knows about and or remembers. So there's a lot of great content online.
Thank you, Traci.
Oh, you're welcome.
I really enjoy always when you come here. And I do want to say again, one of the reasons it's so important that there be a historical record. And that's one of the things that we've got to keep in mind as we go forward all the time, is that it's important for people involved currently in whether it's union organizing or community organizing or whatever, to both have a knowledge of what has preceded. It's where you can learn lessons, and it's also where you can see that you're part of a great onward and upward movement of the people, so that there's never, just like the histories that we do here on WRG, it grounds us in knowing that people always resist repression and oppression and exploitation. So if there's one more time, a website, just your plain website?
Yes, specifically for the Labor Forum episodes, research.library.gsu.edu/laborforum.
Thank you, Traci Drummond
Thank
of the
you.
Southern Labor Archives. We have a message, and we'll be right back with William Flanagan. He's the president of local, I want to say 404, am I right?
Yes, 32.
Oh, wrong local number. We'll get the right one when we come back. But he's with the Postal Workers Union, and we're going to talk about the victory over the Staples privatization scheme that went down.